Hello, my name is Cherie, and if you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping by. Many of us purchase a sewing machine and expect it to be our one and done. However, we soon realize that the machine doesn't meet all of our expectations or all of our needs, so we seek to upgrade, and some of us even upgrade several times before we find the correct machine for us. Today I want to mitigate some of those issues for you by discussing all of the features of the different machines that I have so that you can make the best decision about what would be the correct sewing machine for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. This MDeco JA21, of course, was the first machine that I ever purchased. It has a straight stitch and a zigzag on it, which I thought would be very important features to have. And then also, it takes design cams, which means that there are many other stitches that you can do on this machine so long as you put design cams into that little port there. The problem is that it takes some time to find which cam that you want to use, and then you have to put it in there, and it's just time consuming and annoying. And it became annoying for me, and it even made me want to upgrade machines. Also, this machine has only a zigzag needle plate and does not offer a straight stitch needle plate. That doesn't matter if you sew thicker materials all the time, but it does matter if you sew with lightweight materials often, because it means that those lightweight materials can get sucked down into the needle plate. So that's just one other thing to look out for if you are in the market for a machine. If you are going to be sewing lightweight materials, I would suggest you find a machine that has both a straight stitch and a zigzag needle plate, because it will be extremely important. The third thing about this machine is that it is extremely heavy. And that is a good thing in terms of longevity, because it means that this machine will last for generations. However, I cannot carry this sewing machine out into the living room and sew while I watch TV or do activities with my family. I can't carry this sewing machine outside to sew on the back porch like I love to do all of the time with my other machines. So for that reason, it's not one of my favorites, because it's very isolating to be stuck and confined to one space to sew. But if you like to be isolated and like to be by yourself to sew, then it's probably in your best interest to have a machine that is a bit heavier, that can't travel around with you. So I think that I have spoken enough about this machine. Let's move on and talk about another. Meet Nina. Nina is a Bernina 1010 sewing machine that is my primary workhorse. The reason why she is my primary workhorse is because she sews fast. This machine, I'm not sure the exact speed, but I do know that she sews at least 1,000 stitches per minute, which means that I can get my projects done in a timely fashion. Also, the machine comes with a variety of different presser feet, and these presser feet make it a lot easier for me to complete projects without having to go an extra mile. So if you are in the market for a sewing machine, I would recommend trying to find one that has a good set of presser feet that are specifically designed for that machine, and that also goes a decent speed so that you can get projects done. In the very beginning, it's extremely important to you to have a lot of different sewing machine stitches. However, as you advance in your sewing, you will notice that you only use probably about 3 or 4 stitches on the sewing machine. So this machine with 16 stitches is more than enough stitches to get a job done. And also it has a buttonhole, and you do want to make sure a machine has at least one buttonhole on it. But the vast majority of garment sewers do like to make handmade buttonholes because they just look a little bit nicer. However, you can still use the buttonhole on the sewing machine. The only reason why this machine ended up not being my only machine was because it's not easily serviceable. You can get into the machine from the back and also from the side. However, you can only access part of the back of the machine without having to tear the entire machine apart and put it back together again. Because this machine is so old at this point, it does run into some issues from time to time, and I have to work on it. However, I haven't had any issues with it in the past 2 or 3 years, so that's a good thing. But when I did run into issues with it, I ended up purchasing a secondary machine to have as a backup while I was working to service this machine. This machine right here takes a long time to service because it is super hard to get into, and also because the parts are extremely expensive, and I don't understand why the parts would be so expensive on such an old machine, but they are. So serviceability is something else to consider when you are in the market for a sewing machine. Now, other than the serviceability issue, this is a great machine to have, and you don't run into problems and issues with it often, but when you do run into problems and issues, just know that it's going to take you quite some time to get them fixed. This Kenmore 1941-2 is the backup machine to my Bernina, and I consider it a backup machine because it is slower. It has a speed of 860, which is significantly slower than the other machine. Also, this machine takes super high shank presser feet, and Kenmore only made a couple of super high shank presser feet, so there's not that many choices out there. In order to be able to use a variety of presser feet on this machine, you have to use an adapter which converts the machine to a low shank machine, or you can use a secondary adapter. I actually have two adapters right here. The secondary adapter converts it to a snap-on presser foot machine. So this one's for a low shank, and then this one converts it to snap-on. And some of those feet work well. Some of the snap-on feet work well, but others do not, because the needle position is not movable on this machine. And since the needle position is not movable, some of those snap-on and low shank presser feet don't fit this machine properly. So this could never be my number one machine for that reason, because you cannot use a variety of different feet on the machine as you would think that you could by using an adapter. However, I still really like this machine because it is easily serviceable. You can get into it from the very top, from this side, and from that side right there. Plus, you can fully open up the bottom of the machine to access all of the internal parts and to do servicing on this machine. So I know that this machine will last much longer than it already has, given that this machine is already a 40-year-old machine. It looks like it has a lot more years of use out of it, and I really do enjoy using it. Plus, it has all these stretch stitch and regular stitches on the machine, and I like that a lot because it means that you can sew a variety of different materials, including your sportswear as well as your jeans and that sort of thing. The other thing that my other machines miss that this machine has is the ability to change out the needle plate. This actually comes with a straight stitch needle plate, which makes it quite easy to do a variety of different projects on this machine. So while this machine does not come with a ton of presser feet, it is a wonderful option for someone, and I think that it is a great option as a main workhorse machine for some people. So I hope that you're getting something out of this and getting a kind of an idea of what would be the best features for you in a sewing machine. I've showed you some vintage machines. Now let me show you one modern machine so that you can get an idea of that as well. This is my one digital machine that I have, and I only have one digital sewing machine simply because of cost. It is always cheaper to buy a vintage sewing machine than it is to purchase a brand new sewing machine. And this one I got from a Walmart, and it wasn't too bad expensive, but it was a lot more expensive than any of the other machines that you saw me pull out earlier. This machine right here is good because it has a variety of different buttonhole stitches on it, as well as a variety of different decorative stitches. So I don't use this machine as a main machine because it's quite slow with sewing, and also the needle plate here is plastic at the front, and then all of the measurements are at the back, and I found that quite difficult to read and to understand. So I don't generally use this sewing machine for sewing, but occasionally I will pull it out to do buttonholes or decorative stitches. And that's the way that I would see using this machine. I just cannot see using this machine as the only sewing machine, though I do know that some people do use it that way. And if that is what you enjoy and that's what you have, then wonderful. But I do think there's better options out there in terms of a sewing machine. And if I were to have it my way and were to purchase two brand new machines, I would probably get one semi-industrial straight stitch like a Juki 2010 QI, which has a stitching speed of 1500, and then also have a machine like this one that I can use for all of my decorative stitches and my buttonholes. So if you are out there looking for a machine, let's just recap some of the things I spoke about before. You want to make sure that your sewing machine is capable of doing the things that you want it to do. Like if you plan on sewing in a living room with your family, then you don't want to get a 100-pound sewing machine. If you plan on trying to sew through projects very quickly, then you don't want a machine that's maximum speed is 800. If you plan on sewing a wide variety of different sewing projects, then you want to make sure that you have a lot of different presser feet that you can use with the machine. And then if you are into sewing lightweight things like, I don't know, gingham or something like that, or you make lingerie, then you definitely want a machine that has both a straight stitch and a zigzag needle plate, or else you're going to run into problems with your fabric getting sucked down into the needle plate. So all of those things are things to consider before you purchase your one and done machine. And I hope that this video with all of my ramblings helped you to just make a decision about what type of features would be the best for you in a sewing machine. And if you have not already, please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap that notification bell to receive updates. I will see you guys on the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to receive more sewing related content. Peace.